Welcome to What? Series 16 and number 5. And remember last week we talked about Joseph's brothers throwing him in a pit, thinking he would die of starvation or maybe some animals would eat him. They have no concept of sin, these boys, do they? And later on, which we'll talk about further down the track, in Genesis 24, they described the conviction of sin that they ignored at this moment. In that passage, as the brothers said, we are truly guilty concerning our brother, for we saw the anguish of his soul when he pleaded for us, and we would not hear. And when Joseph was cast into the pit, he pled with his brothers, and they ignored his cries as they ate their meal. Now, that's where we left it last week. Some interesting things came up as I was looking at this. Physicists could compute the exact time required for Joseph's cries to go about 25 yards or something like that to the eardrums of his brothers. But it took 22 years for that cry to go from Joseph to their hearts. That's an interesting thought process, isn't it? So that's something that's coming up in the next few weeks. Now we go to verse 25, and this is where the plan changes. It says this: Then they lifted their eyes and looked, and there was a company of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead with their camels, bearing spices and balm and myrrh, on their way to carry them down to Egypt. So Judah said to his brothers, "What profit is there if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and lot not our hand upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh." And the brothers listened. Notice that there was this company of Ishmaelites, these bunch of guys, and we would probably call them Arab traders. The family that came from these guys' great uncle Ishmael, the other son of Abraham. We've got to keep all of that in perspective as well as we go through this story. They go, "What profit is there if we kill our brother and conceal his blood?" There's only one way to describe the brothers, and that's cruel, heartless, and cold. They were heartless to Joseph, but also to their father, and they set themselves against God's plan. They decided that if they were going to ruin so many lives, they may as well make some money out of it. It's an interesting perspective, isn't it, when we look at it from that angle. This came from Judah, which is an interesting place because of all of the brothers, actually Judah becomes the ancestor of Jesus. As the story of Joseph develops, Judah will be the brother most changed in heart and character. Again, more about this in the coming weeks as we continue on through the story. For the comment is, for he is our brother and our flesh. He's our brother, so let's just only sell him into a life of slavery until Dad is dead. There's no real benefit for them when you think about it, except the money, but it does decimate the family. And then it goes on in verse 28, then the Midianite traders passed by, so the brothers pulled Joseph up and lifted him up out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. And they took Joseph to Egypt. Notice they pulled him up so they could sell him. They were going to leave him there to die. As they brought him out of the pit, I can just imagine Joseph was feeling that it was a big, cruel, practical joke maybe, and perhaps he told his brother how sorry he was because he'd learned his lesson, and he wouldn't act so superior and arrogant in future around them. But that's not how it plays out, is it? We don't know if we should think more highly of Joseph's brothers because they decided to spare his life, or this is just a compounding of their sin. My feeling is it's just compounding everything. They figured they could get rid of him and make some money on the side, but apparently they considered their brother was only worth 20 shekels of silver. Now, apparently this isn't even the same as a good slave. So he's worse than a decent slave. So he's sold off to the Ishmaelites for the 20 shekels of silver. If Joseph was hopeful that when he was pulled out of the pit, all hope is gone when he saw the Ishmaelites and then the exchange of the money. What's he thinking? How's he thinking? What's going on here? Perhaps the brothers laughed as the Ishmaelites went on their way. Yeah, and they went down to Egypt, and that's where the story is now going to be based in the future chapters. They were feeling good. They didn't kill Joseph, but they'd made a little bit of money on the side. Best of all, they thought they had defeated the dreams that Joseph had shared with them. And that's the feeling that they had defeated the revelation of God. But the thing is, God's word about Joseph was proved true in the long run, no matter what his brothers did to him. When we compare that to the life of Jesus, God's word about Jesus also proved true, no matter what other people did to him. God's word about the individual believer, us, will be proved true as well, no matter what others have done or will do to us. Yeah, it's an interesting concept when we look at it that way. God's will prevail. Bless you.